Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're building a mausoleum. Like I mentioned in the last video, I wanted to make a sort of a graveyard environment. You could use this to store Sims that have passed away, or maybe just as a nice little set piece for some spooky screenshots. I probably should have made this build a lot smaller. I was looking for something easier to do, but the recording ended up totaling about 3 hours, and that's after cutting out a big portion in the middle where I realized the building was much too large and didn't leave enough room for the grounds. I might not do a voiceover that covers the entirety of the video today. I have some plans with some friends for the Halloween weekend, and they should be arriving in a couple hours, so we'll see how much time I have. I did struggle with this a lot. There's something about when you're trying to make bright white or marble or stone buildings, there's not that many wallpapers available. Things tend to light strangely, the contrast tends to look kind of bad. So there's a lot of time I cut out that was spent waffling on the wallpapers and the columns and the composition of the building in general. It also has multiple stories. It could have been a much smaller building, but there's something about like the grandeur of that little lofted space that we're going to see in a minute with some more urns and of course a spooky basement. I had an idea this lot might also work as like a vampire rags to riches. You could either make this your residential lot and start with 0 money, or you could have an empty lot as your residential lot and just have your sim pretend to live here and then sleep in some of the coffins in the basement, and then, you know, when night falls you can go over to maybe a different world or a different lot and, you know, and feast on sims in the night. So whatever you want to use it for, I hope you enjoy this build. I did try to use very limited packs. We do end up using one additional wallpaper from Get Together, but besides that, it is only vampires and base game, or at least it should be. I'll double check that before it goes up on the gallery. Get Together is a pack I would absolutely recommend though. If there was one expansion I would have them make free to go along with the base game. You would think it would be seasons, but no, I actually think Get Together is better, at least for how I like to play the game. It's so useful to be able to assign sims into groups, even if they're not in your family, and control, you know, where they go or have them interact with things as a group. The world is incredible. There is so many lots and they're all really pretty. I love the build and buy, and cafes and nightclubs, the game sort of feels empty without them. So I guess there's going to be sales upcoming in November and December, I'm almost sure. If you're looking for an expansion pack to get your very first one, probably Get Together, I would say. Actually waited to get Seasons as the very last pack I ever bought, because I find like the way holidays work in the game pretty annoying. I think I might have mentioned that last video. Ugh. I struggle with this facade so much. It changes like shape so many times. I've got on the other monitor while I was recording this a bunch of reference footage of different mausoleums, and they all have like these really dramatic columns in the front, but it's tough to get columns in The Sims to look like they actually fit into the build. See, there's like no swatches that make them like blend in nicely with the friezes and the wallpapers. So it's really hard to build this sort of thing in The Sims with how like lighting works and how the different architectural elements work. But I think it came together all right. Yeah, here we're trying to find some kind of harmony between all the different options, and nothing is quite right. We do settle on the vampire frieze, I'm pretty sure. Oh, and here's a little, I forget, there's a term for what this is. In architecture, when you've got a little, like, is it a cupola? It's something that's like on the very top of a build. I'm not sure what they were for back in the day, maybe just to like add some ventilation or get some extra light in at the top of a building, but I definitely wanted one. here on this mausoleum. I think in a moment I attempt some kind of trick with elevating the roofs onto like a part of the build that's got a different foundation height so that they're slightly taller, so you can rest a roof on top of a platform. But the problem is when you do things like that, when you've got a roof sort of intersecting at different build heights, anytime you make a change to the wall, it'll delete anything that it thinks is in the wrong spot like that. So, you know, what counts as changing a wall is also wallpaper. So like if you change the wallpaper anywhere on the build that touches that new roof you did all that weird stuff to put in, it'll get rid of it. Changing the wallpaper counts as changing the wall, and that's irritating for so many reasons while building in The Sims, because I think ever since, I want to say the the werewolf update that we had this year, anytime you do make a change to the wall, it will clear all of your filters that you've set for like game pack items or color or style. It'll just get rid of those. So you have to, I think you can probably see in this footage if you pay attention, like I'm having to reset. I just skipped past a bunch of architectural finagling there, I think. You have to reset your filters so often, like every single time you change your mind about the wallpaper or the placement of a wall, which for me is all the time, because I don't organize my building very much. I'm I'm too chaotic. What I should really do to help myself out, at least until they patch that, though it's been up for like almost a year, so at this point I don't expect them to. I should just be very diligent to finish all of the walls and all of the wallpaper first before I start doing like any interior stuff. You know, if I just built in a system where I got all the walls done first, then it'd be fine. We're jumping back out again. I think that's basically the shape that the facade has from now on. There's probably some pillars that get added later, but yeah, we're just trying to get all the little architectural elements to work. If you want to put a small height like frieze on a wall and it's not applying, it's usually because there needs to be a floor tile on the top of the room, otherwise it won't be able to apply it. So that's what I'm having to like put so many little additional floor tiles on the roof just to get the frieze to, I'm applying it right here, to get the frieze to extend all the way across the back of that build. It's that there has to be like a floor or a wall. It's got to see that as like one continuous place. So yeah, you're just constantly kind of fighting how the system works. I might like to make a longer video that goes into just the way that The Sims, the way the program is actually thinking about the building as you're making it, so you can sort of interpret how it's going to behave, because otherwise it does seem very arcane if you're trying to build for the first time and you're trying to do like any advanced sort of tips. But there is a very like systematic way to think about it where you can anticipate what it's going to do and why. And I think that would be a good video for me to make next month after I'm done with my Halloween builds. I want to make a replacement for the mansion up on the hill. And I'm going to try, I think, a different editing style for that, maybe to save some time. But for now, we're making a little graveyard just because I kind of wanted one. I shouldn't have made it so big, though, because now I have all this footage and I have to talk over it. Well, I hope this has been a good week for you. I hope you're enjoying the last week that we get of Halloween. I'm going to be sad to see it go. I always wish that there were like 2 Octobers, you know? I just feel in general that I always need a little bit more time with things. I always try to do too much. So I'm trying to learn to make projects for myself, I guess, a little faster. But I still, you know, I always miss this season. I just love the spooky vibes. The weather has become so nice here this week too. That's maybe strange to say about a bunch of rain, but that's how the climate in my area used to be when I was little. So it's kind of comfortable and familiar, and also I know it's good for our local environment when it's a lot cooler and there's a lot of rain. So oh, now that I'm looking at it in the footage, I actually really like this wallpaper and like column in Corbel, not Corbel, Freeze. I don't know. I need to get a glossary. I like this combination. I kind of wish I had stuck with it, but you know, I think instead we go for like the get together rune wallpaper. And I think I choose a different column there. Who knows? Maybe I'll go off camera and set it back to just being base game and vampires. Sorry to be so indecisive. I'm still kind of figuring out what I want. I think I even get rid of these things I'm so meticulously placing down. Even though it looks nice. You know, why not keep it? Because I'm struggling is why. I think it went by pretty quick a moment ago. You could see, like, while I was adjusting the walls and putting on wallpaper, that the roof I put up there would flash yellow really briefly, and that sort of means that whatever change you're about to make, it is going to delete that object. So if you're like placing down walls or like applying a wallpaper and everything's turning yellow, it's because like something is considered like clipping and it wants to delete it. It won't always do it though. Better Build By has object deletion prevention, but you do have to be careful with that, because undoing build actions when you have that checked is a little unstable. Sometimes it won't work, and sometimes it will crash your game to desktop. That has happened to me before. So just I didn't think it would happen to me so soon because I'm such a new player, but I am ready for The Sims 5. I think it's time. The Sims 4 has so many pains from like when it was originally conceived as a mobile game, and it has so many. See here, I'm fussing with the wallpaper again. What's wrong with me? It's got just so many pains from the way it was originally, like the way it started, and build mode has so many little nasty quirks. So, just unfortunately, I'm ready for. I want something that is a little bit more stable, easier, better lit, I would say, will go a long way in being able to make something that feels cohesive. Yeah, those columns up there I put at that whatever the third story, whatever it's called. I can't leave them up there because I put in a light and it lights them very strangely at night, and I wanted the build to look very nice at night. I wanted to put a little fence there so I could like have a chandelier hanging like down into the second story from a fence, but that acts almost as like some beams, but it just kept like deleting everything. So yeah, and then that roof is trying to die, so I try and move it over. At some point I just give up. Like, I'm trying to do advanced things, but it becomes so frustrating because I just don't build in an organized way. What can I say? Now, I'm curious what you guys think, because I always talk about like zodiac stuff with my friends, like oh, I'm like that because I'm an Aries, but I always immediately afterwards say stars are fake because I don't actually believe in it. Like, it's sort of just fun to say, but I'm not convinced. You know, stars aren't real. They don't influence your personality. They don't they don't control you. That's made up. That's not real. But at the same time, like, it's just so funny to say that, like, yeah, that's my Capricorn rising. Wants these windows perfect. I don't know. I think having some harmless nonsense in your life like that kind of keeps you healthy, because so many other things you're gonna have to deal with in your life is non-harmless nonsense, like so many things about how the world is set up and how it operates and how people like behave and interpret things is such nonsense, and it's not harmless. So learning to, I think, maybe cope psychologically with our absurd reality by embodying a little bit of absurdity, I think is, you know, maybe the best way to go about it. Who knows? You know, maybe you disagree. Maybe you think we should have an iron grip on our rationality. Here's the most frustrating thing in the world. I made the front of the build, I think 3 tiles wide, right? I forgot it's impossible to center that in a lot. You can't do it. And also, you can't alt place like fences, so you cannot center like the main gate to that gate that goes into the park, and you can't center it to the house. And I got really upset, and so I thought maybe I could do 2. No, I just opened the gate up instead. Also, that little park out there in the vampire world, I just realized this the other day. I've been playing this for years. This was my first pack. It's shaped like a plumb bob. The things that you don't see, like, until you see them. It's astounding. Lofts are also, like, lofted areas in builds are so annoying in The Sims. You have to do so much to get the roofs not to clip and the freezes not to, like, go inside the building, and it's just... I wish it were simple. I wish it worked. Here's where I'm realizing the build is just way too big. She's just too big. It doesn't... There's not enough space for graves. I wanted there to be, like, some grounds in the front. So, yeah, we cut through me resizing it, so now it's much smaller. I think we're just going to do the interior now. Well, like I said, I think that's all I have time or interest in kind of recording for the voiceover today, so I'm going to leave you guys for the back half of the build. You can enjoy all the interiors. But thank you again for watching. I don't know if I'm going to upload at the same pace through November and December. You know, I'm trying to keep this channel very, you know, casual for me. Just, I wanted another hobby that was simpler to do. But, you know, we'll see. Maybe I'll miss it, and I'll have a lot of ideas for videos, and I'll want to come back. So, yeah, just sit back, enjoy, and I'll hopefully see you guys again on Halloween when I upload a Vampire Mansion. Take care. See you then.